What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. Terrence Bud Crawford is out here making waves. He's channeling his inner Bob Arum. Made some controversial statements in regard to the cash cow boxing Canelo Alvarez, who currently holds the WBA and WBC super middleweight titles. Terrence Bud Crawford currently holds the WBA welterweight title. There's been a lot of debate back and forth with boxing fans when they debate who's the best fighter in boxing. Some say Terrence Bud Crawford, some say Canelo Alvarez. In my opinion, Terrence Bud Crawford is number one, and I have Canelo Alvarez as number two. But it's up to debate, man, and I respect people who have Canelo Alvarez as number two. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, this is the reason why Terrence Crawford is putting Canelo Alvarez on blast, saying he has shied away from black fighters, in particular the WBC middleweight champion Jamal Lions Only Charlo and the WBO middleweight champion Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. Said, I think it's more of the style of those fighters. He doesn't like fighting those guys that are very technical, very slick, guys that have the fundamentals down, great footwork, good combination punches, good jabs, good head movement, just a strong foundation when it comes to boxing. He has a reluctance to fight those type of fighters. Don't want no smoke with that particular style of fighters. Even though Jamal Charlo and Andrade styles are different, both guys are very athletic. Both guys can get from point A to point B quickly and suddenly. Both guys have what Max Kellerman has famously phrased, fast twitch muscles. Both of those guys have that. And Terrence Crawford is saying he doesn't want to fight that style. Now, I know a lot of people going to maybe comment in my comment section and say, wait a minute, JBsports. He fought Daniel Jacobs. He fought Austin Trout. Okay, he fought Ezralanda Lara. Well, he fought Jacobs, man, but Jacobs is not that style of fighter. Jacobs is stiff. He don't have fast twitch muscles. He's a guy that has fast hands, but he's a guy that's, especially when he gets into a big fight, he's hesitant to let his hands go. When he shoots that jab out, he doesn't shoot it with no conviction. He's a guy that's very stiff in the ring and is not as agile and as athletic as a Demetrius Andrade or Jamal Charlo. Canelo Alvarez seen that on film, and he took that fight. Plus, he had the opportunity to collect another belt at the middleweight division. Now, when he fought Austin Trout is a more technical guy. He doesn't have the foot speed or the footwork of a Jamal Charlo or Andrade, but he's very technically sound. You know, he's a guy that's very tricky, very awkward, coming from that southpaw stance. And he gave Canelo a lot of problems. And that's probably one of the reasons why Canelo don't want to fight that style now. He fought that style back then. That was, 5 years ago? That fight took place in the Alamo Dome. So give him credit for fighting that guy. That guy was more of a style of a Demetrius Andrade style of a fighter. But he had problems with that style, and they had the open scoring. And Austin Trout was well behind in the open scoring, so he had to take chances. And Canelo Alvarez was able to drop him and basically cement the victory over Austin Trout. That fight was a unification fight at junior middleweight. He was able to collect another belt. And then I think the last straw was when he fought Ezralanda Lara. Fought that guy. That guy's got very good footwork, very agile, very slick, very strong defensively. Got a good jab, got a good right hand, and he's a guy that likes to pot shot from the outside, and this guy that's very accurate with his punches. Canelo Alvarez had problems, especially in the first half of that fight. In the second half of that fight, he was able to have more success as he was able to kind of walk down Ezralanda Lara. I thought Lara kind of gave away some rounds, not being active enough, not throwing enough punches, and he was able to squeak out a decision that many people disagreed with. It was one of those fights where it was very, very close, a lot of close rounds, and a lot of people thought he lost that fight. And I think that was the last straw for him to fight those type of fighters, and he's not shown any kind of willingness to fight those style of fighters now. And that's what Terrence Bud Crawford is saying right now. He's shying away from those guys. And I think it's based on the problems he had with that particular style in the past. So we'll see what happens. We will see what transpires. But Terrence Bud Crawford is not holding nothing back. A lot of people are going to say it's jealousy that people are saying Canelo Alvarez is #1 pound for pound. And Terrence Crawford is speaking out against Canelo Andrade because of that fact, because that opinion of so many people in the boxing community. But I think it's Terrence Crawford is just being a bolder, man. Like I say, he's channeling his inner Bob Arum, and he's speaking what's on his mind. He's the Charles Barkley of boxing. Says what's on his mind and don't care about what people say about his opinion. And like I said, his opinion is like people say, his opinion is like assholes. Everybody got one. So you just got to respect it. Maybe you disagree with it, but you just got to respect it, man. That just kind of, something that came out I saw on Michael Benson's Twitter about Terrence Bud Crawford coming out in regards to Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez's next fight will be against Billy Joe Saunders, who ironically is a guy that's a very skilled guy, very technical guy, a guy that has decent footwork, and a guy that's more of a slick fighter in the mode of a Demetrius Andrade. But a guy that's not been active enough, has not fought that many fights in the last, 4 years? He probably fought 4 fights in the last 4 years. Have not been nearly active as Canelo Alvarez, who's seeking to have 4 fights in 2021. So we'll see what happens. We will see what transpires. I think what Canelo Alvarez is doing and what his team is doing is they staying active enough. They're fighting a lot of fights, and they're trying to get 4 fights in a year, and they're taking advantage of guys like Demetrius Andrade, who are fighting once or twice a year, or Jamal Charlo, who's fighting once or twice a year. And I think when they do get in the ring with those guys, and they have improved their technical aspect of their fighting, Canelo Alvarez, along with his trainer, Eddie Reynoso, he's improved his technical fighting, very good head movement, especially upper body movement. His feet are not that fast, but he makes up with it with his anticipation and his fast hands. And I think he's got better in that aspect. And I think him and his team might be more willing to fight that style of fight, in particular because they're being so active and the other guys not fighting that much. When you look at the 12-month calendar year of a fighter and when he fights and when he doesn't fight. I think they'll take advantage of it. Them fighting 4 times a year, and Andrade and, like I said, Jamal Charlo maybe fighting once or twice a year. I think they'll be more willing to, especially with their improved boxing technique that he's improved since the Floyd Mayweather fight, even in Austin Trout fight, and the Elder fight. They feel that they got much better, and they're using that to their advantage. Their activity, being active, and being able to get into a big fight and fight on that stage. And the other guys not used to being on that big stage, fighting the fight of the Canelo Alvarez. They think they could take advantage of all those things and get them a victory when they do face that style of fighter that Terrence Bud Crawford is saying that they're shying away from. So we'll see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section about Terrence Crawford. Provocative comments in regard to Canelo Alvarez saying that he's shying away from black fighters with that certain style, slick fighters with that certain style. Let me know your thoughts. Do you believe Terrence Crawford is right, or do you believe he's wrong? Hit the like button if you like the content of this video, and subscribe to JBsports, the man, the myth, the legend. I'll holla.